Welcome everyone. Today I'll be presenting PassportPals, a mobile application designed to revolutionize the way we travel by enabling peer-to-peer cultural exchange. My name is Gautam Mehta, and over the next few minutes, I'll walk you through the project idea, system design, key capabilities and limitations, lessons I learned building it, and suggestions for future improvement. Let's get started with the project idea. Passport Pals is built on the notion that authentic travel experiences come from personal connections, not generic tours or hotel stays. The app connects travelers and hosts worldwide based on shared interests like food, hobbies, and culture. Imagine meeting Hiro in Japan who shares your passion for photography and sushi, then inviting each other into your homes for a genuine local experience. So, this is exactly how student exchange works, but rather for travelers. Hosts and travelers complete a questionnaire, much like on dating apps, which powers an intelligent matching algorithm. So the users who are more similar to you will be stacked on top based on the questions they've answered about themselves. And you get to see similar travelers, who share the same hobbies and interests. So this helps in a more natural selection criteria out of all the users we'll have. Imagine having millions of users. And then under the hood, we leverage Swift UI for the user interface, MVVM architecture for clean code separation, and Swift data for persistent user profiles. MapKit and third-party APIs bring weather, currency conversion, and real-time local time into the experience. Let's dive into the features that our app has, starting with the sign-up page. So in the sign-up view, the user gets to tell the app about themselves. So the app learns the user's interests and everything, which will help later on to develop a similarity score between different users and show users which are more likely, similar travelers. And then we also have the login page. And then as soon as the user is inside the app, there we have a bottom navigation bar with home, chat, map, and profile. So starting with the home page, which is the most important page of our app, we have all the users in a list view, and this is a scrollable list view. And we also have added a sorted functionality, so we can sort all the users based on, let's say, age, based on name, and based on rating, and the most important one, based on similarity. So you can, have similar users stacked on top if you want to. And then this shows basic information, which is the age, the interest, the languages they speak, the ratings from past travelers, and the similarity score, and a small profile picture. So once you click on the user, you go into the host detail view. In the detail view, you are greeted with a lot more information, the map location of where the host resides, their availability date, a small bio description or a quote about them, and then the languages, the currency rate, which is, I think we've used dollars as the default, and then dollars is matched with the currency they're from, wherever they're from, and then the local time in their location. And then you also are fetched live weather of their location. Let's say someone from Italy, you get to see the live weather of Italy right now. We haven't really added weather forecast and everything, that gets a little too complicated. And then we also use Flickr API in the very bottom of the host detail view. You get to see random images of those cities, I think fetched from Wikipedia. And yeah, so that's pretty much about the host detail view. And then we also have a chat section, which is populated by dummy chats right now. We haven't added live chats or anything because we don't have a server in place. All of the data over here is local dummy data. We haven't used Firebase or a live backend. So all of the data is dummy stored into the app. It also stays there even after we close the app. And then we have a map section where you see all the hosts in the app based on a map. It can be zoomed out, zoomed in, and it's just like a map which can be moved here and there. And then you can click on any user, and then the thing again opens the host detail view. And then we have a profile section where you can see your own profile. You can edit a few things if you want to about yourself. You can change your profile picture. You can change your interests and stuff. And then you can also log out on this same page. So that is pretty much about the features of the app. All right, so here's our use case diagram, which is a little too detailed here to be seen properly, but it can be zoomed in on the PDF that is uploaded. So this diagram illustrates how a user interacts with the app. So for the authentication, much of the uh, code takes place in the sign-up view, the login view, and the auth view models. And then we have also the option of uploading profile picture and other details in the sign-up view and everything. And then for the communication, we have the chat threads, and for the profile management, that takes place in the profile view where you can view your own profile and edit it. And then we have the host browsing, which is you can search host on the map, view host list, host details, availability, calendars, and photo galleries, which is via Flickr API, all of that. And then for the utilities, we have weather forecast, live weather forecast, and then it also will show an icon based on the weather. So it might show you sunny, it might show you cloudy, it might show you raining, all of that based on the weather. And this is live depending on the location of the host. And then we also have currency rates and also the local time of that very place. So these are some of the API integrations we've used. And so yeah, this diagram pretty much uh, shows us about that. And it might be a little too small to see, but it can be zoomed in on the PDF. Coming on to the MVVM architecture, this again is a very detailed one. It might not be visible over here. It can be zoomed in the PPT that is uploaded. So this shows the app layers, and so the PassportPal app, it injects the auth model into the environment, and then we have several views. These observe all the view models, trigger actions, and example on appear, and render UI. Subcomponents include host card view, availability view, and image slider view. These are some uh, smaller views inside those views. So, for example, the host card view is the one used on the home page for the scrollable list, and the availability view is the one that just shows the calendar and the dates the host is available. And the image slider view just fetches random images using the Flickr API. And then obviously we have the view models like the auth, the home, the map, the weather, and these handle basically the business logic. They maintain some straight properties like the host and whether the host is authenticated, the weather code, and they also invoke services. And the services they interact between view models and models. And so we have they perform like API services for the host from the JSON structure that we have, and they invoke the weather service, exchange service, Flickr service. So, and then yeah, then we have the data flow as you can see, which is unidirectional. So views, view models, services, models, back to view models, and then views. And then we also have like an error bubble, error message for the user feedback, especially when you're signing up. And then, yeah, this is pretty much about the MVVM architecture. Moving on to the capabilities and limitations. So, some of the good capabilities that our app has is like intelligent interest-based matching, rich reactive Swift UI with MVVM. Then it has map integration for geolocation, asynchronous third-party APIs like weather, currency, and photos. And some of the limitations are no offline, uh, data. So there's no caching, and there's no like all the data you see is just limited to your device. Nothing is on Firebase. You don't have like a live server, live backend like Firebase or anything like that for the users to interact with each other. So this is just like a dummy app right now. And then we can also add more error handling, and we can polish the UI a little more in some of the edge case scenarios and everything. And then there is a lot of missing parts like payments reviews and everything, which will make this app fully fledged if we add them. And then some minor tweaks in the UI, and then just basic customizations here and there. Those are some of the limitations. And yeah, let's move on to the lessons learned. So building Passport Pals taught me it got me really good with the MVP and mastery, like how to architect a Swift UI code base with clear separation of concerns. This makes the code, like especially a huge project, this makes the code very organized and structured and easy to figure out what's going wrong, where it's going wrong, and how to, just change that particular part of the code without messing up the entire file. And then I also got very confident with the API integration. So we managed multiple asynchronous calls and parsing JSON and etc. into the codable part. And then state management. So publishing and observing data with published, trade object, and passing environment objects. And then also Swift data and persistence, storing user profiles and login state seamlessly. And then, yeah, so some of the improvements for the app to elevate it further would be, implementing caching like offline, like online support and everything, like a live backend and reviews and payments. And an interesting one would be translation and local transit APIs, real-time translation and public transport recommendations, and then comprehensive error handling, user testing, and algorithm tuning. So I hope Passport Pals makes sense to you about the idea that we have and how we've translated that into a product here. Still a dummy one though, but much closer to reality. So this is not just about traveling, it's about genuine connection and, experiencing a different culture, a different place in a very organic way, in a very natural way. And we are happy with what we've built over here, and we would like to expand it with more features and, uh, you know, maybe get some feedback from you as well. So this was Passport Pals, and thank you.